Imagine getting slimed by a prince, just because you used Mega Knight in your deck way too much. If you also want to see a Mega Knight user bite the dust, then stick around. So without further delay, let's begin our recap. At the Imperial Palace's royal kitchen, today's assigned dish is fried flounder. The female protagonist, whose name is Elise, is almost finished with the preparation work. She is the lowest-ranking cook in the Imperial Palace kitchen, a mere kitchen hand with no authority or influence. As she works, she cannot help but think that it feels like such a terrible waste to simply fry a fish of such high quality. In her eyes, the Empire's food culture is painfully plain and uninspired. Palace cuisine is supposed to represent the pinnacle of culinary art, yet this country's approach to food is shabby, lacking elegance and refinement. Even their cooking methods are crude, limited to nothing more than grilling, steaming, or frying. She finds it difficult to believe that there is actually a country that does not even season its food with salt. If the flounder were truly this good, it would be far tastier if it were pan-seared gently in butter, then finished with lemon and herbs to draw out its aroma and depth of flavor. Still, she knows there is no point in indulging such thoughts. Elise is nothing more than a lowly kitchen worker after all. Besides, a chilling reminder echoes in her mind. In the name of the Empire, she would be executed without hesitation if she were to make a serious mistake. That thought makes her hands tremble, and in her moment of distraction, she accidentally breaks the dish she is holding. The sharp sound makes her freeze. She cannot believe what she has just done, breaking such precious dishware. If she draws attention to herself now, it will surely turn into a disaster. At that moment, another maid rushes into the kitchen, clearly excited, announcing that there is major news. Elise turns to her, startled, and wonders what could possibly be happening. The maid tells her not to be shocked by what she is about to hear. According to her, the head chef himself has assigned Elise to prepare today's meals for the night service. Elise is completely confused by this sudden decision. She cannot understand why such an important task would be given to someone like her. The maid reminds her of the celebration dinner the kitchen staff shared the other day. It seems that the pasta Elise had brought to that staff meal left a strong impression on the head chef. Elise thinks that this should be a responsibility entrusted to the sous chef or someone far more experienced. However, she soon hears the reason for the sudden change. The sous chef has run away. Apparently, he gave up entirely after causing food poisoning during a night order. The shock of the situation leaves Elise stunned. The explanation follows quickly. He served egg sandwiches for lunch, and it is true that the entire night squad collapsed afterward. Elise cannot understand how someone could make such a grave mistake so carelessly. Even so, she gathers herself and begins to think seriously. An idea slowly forms in her mind. She asks her friend for a favor, hoping she will help her. First, she asks whether she could bring her the leftover eggs from yesterday. Her friend reacts with disbelief, pointing out that the Knights became sick after eating eggs, and wonders why Elise is separating the egg whites from the yolks in the first place. Elise silently asks her to wait just a moment, convinced that she has a plan. She begins by whisking the egg whites vigorously. Her arm grows sore from the effort, but she knows the result will be worth it. This step will give the dish an incredible texture. Soon, the egg whites transform, becoming light and airy, almost like whipped cream. Next, she carefully mixes in the yolks, along with some flour, making sure not to deflate the mixture. She gently pours the batter into the pan and patiently waits, watching as it cooks. When the dish is finally finished, the pancakes are complete. Her friend has never seen pancakes this fluffy before. They look impossibly soft, like small, delicate clouds resting on the plate. Elise reminds herself not to get emotional yet, because the dish will now be paired with today's main soup. Her friend takes a bite and immediately notices how soft it is. It is so soft that it melts in her mouth. When combined with the light, warm vegetable broth and tender cabbage, it feels as though it settles gently into the stomach almost instantly. Elise has already figured out the reason this works so well. Everyone is still suffering from food poisoning, so she deliberately made something mild and easy on the stomach. Her friend is overwhelmed and hugs her tightly, thinking that Elise is incredible and wondering how she even comes up with ideas like this. In her eyes, Elise should have been the head chef from the very beginning. Elise, however, is satisfied enough simply knowing that people are enjoying her cooking. That alone makes all the effort worthwhile. Her friend looks at her carefully and thinks that if only the Genetart king had been someone like her. That comment makes Elise feel slightly taken aback. Her friend quickly reassures herself that it is fine to think such things, since there is no one else around at the moment. Still, she cannot help but feel that it is such a shame. The continent's greatest nation of cuisine ended up being destroyed in such a tragic way. No matter how one looks at it, the king of that time was far too greedy. He broke the Marco Treaty and invaded another land purely for more territory. Because of that decision, good people from the Genetard Empire, people like Elise, have been forced to hide their identities. Her friend only hopes that the remaining royals are caught soon. According to the rumors, it was the crown prince and the youngest princess who managed to escape completely. Even now, the knights are still chasing them, yet no one knows where they could possibly be hiding. Elise quickly changes the subject, thinking that the food is ready and should be served before it gets cold. Her friend offers to go with her, but Elise declines. Her friend has been busy organizing inventory all day, so Elise decides to go by herself. The scene shifts as Elise carries the food through the palace corridors. She notices how pleasant the weather is, and for a brief moment, she almost forgets who she really is. That fleeting peace quickly reminds her that she must stay alert in this life. She absolutely must avoid meeting that miserable man again. The truth she keeps buried is that she is Alina, the princess of the defeated nation of Genetart. She is the surviving royal her friend was just talking about, the princess named Alice. If one wonders how she managed to hide her identity and survive, the answer is simple. This is not the first time Genetart has fallen. The same strategy has repeated itself over and over. Her tyrant father once tried to sell her off to the empire. No matter how many times she escaped, no matter how far she ran, she always ended up crossing paths with Max, the second prince of Marco. He always managed to find her relentlessly, without fail. Every time, the world itself would rewind. After countless reincarnations, she finally understood one thing. No matter what she did, it was impossible to prevent the destruction of her homeland with her own power alone. So in this life, she chose a different path. She disguised herself as a refugee and pretended to be her friend's cousin in order to infiltrate the royal palace. No one would ever suspect that a princess from a fallen nation was hiding right here within the palace walls. There is no one here who knows her face or her true identity. The betrayal of her family, the endless chases filled with bloodshed, and those painful days are finally over. In this life, she will survive peacefully while cooking delicious food. As she walks, she hears a faint sound and pauses. She looks around and peeks carefully, noticing a small child nearby. She wonders what a child that young is doing all alone in such a place. She approaches cautiously, thinking that it is dangerous to play around here. Then she becomes even more alert when she realizes the child is eating grass. She makes him spit it out, thinking that he cannot just put random things into his mouth. There are all kinds of dangerous things around, and he could easily hurt himself. Elise's eyes widen when she finally gets a clear look at the little boy's face. The child appears unconcerned, thinking only that he is hungry, and wonders who she even is. Elise, meanwhile, cannot help but think that this child feels strangely familiar to her, as though their paths have crossed before in a life she cannot quite remember. Messy hair, sharp eyes, worn-out clothes, and a skinny body. This is not the kind of appearance one would ever expect to see within the imperial palace. Elise cannot help but wonder where this child could possibly be from. The boy scoffs at her gaze, clearly annoyed, and reacts as if offended by her attention. Elise immediately realizes that she has made him uncomfortable and feels apologetic. She makes it clear through her demeanor that she did not mean anything by it. The boy reacts coldly, thinking that if she has nothing else in mind, she should just leave him alone so he can go back to eating the grass. Elise quickly calls out to him, stopping him. He scoffs again, irritated, and wonders what she wants from him this time. Elise becomes serious, thinking that the plant he is holding is dangerous. It could make his head or stomach hurt, or even make him throw up if he eats it carelessly. The little boy falls silent and looks at her for a long moment. Then, with a dismissive expression, he throws the grass away, thinking that even if it is dangerous, it is not like it will kill him if he eats it. Elise feels a pang in her chest at those words. She gently insists that he should not say things like that, and wonders if he would like to try something more delicious instead. That single sentence immediately catches his attention. Elise smiles softly at him, her expression warm and reassuring. The scene shifts to the two of them sitting together. The little boy is eating the fluffy pancake and drinking the warm soup Elise brought with her. After finishing the food, he lies back, clearly satisfied. Elise observes him carefully, and then wonders how it was and whether he liked it. He looks at her quietly and expresses his gratitude, also apologizing for getting angry earlier. Elise reassures him without hesitation, thinking that it is fine, and that everyone has days like that. The boy then thinks that this is the most delicious bread he has ever eaten in his entire life. He reflects that the bread he usually eats is always hard and green. He even considers showing it to her. When Elise sees it, she realizes that the bread is actually covered in mold. Shocked, she cannot understand who on earth would ever give a child something like this to eat. The little boy calmly thinks that this is the only kind of bread he has ever known. This bread always makes his stomach hurt whenever he eats it, but there is nothing else available to him besides that. Elise feels disbelief and anger well up inside her. She cannot accept that a child could be treated this way, and wonders what kind of parents would allow something like this to happen. Concerned, she begins to think about his situation more seriously. She wonders where his parents are, and more importantly, where he is living right now. Where is his house? The little boy casually points in a direction, thinking that it is over there. Elise follows his gesture, and the moment she sees it, she is completely shocked. What stands before her is a messy, run-down house. She thinks that it is an abandoned warehouse, but the little boy scoffs at the idea, making it clear that it is not. She finds it hard to believe that a child is living completely alone in such a huge imperial palace, with no one to look after him. Confused and concerned, she wonders why this boy is living there at all, and she asks whether there is anyone taking care of him right now. He replies that he can live perfectly fine without anyone like that. She urges him not to be so stubborn, and suggests that, if he would like, they could meet there again tomorrow. The little boy is visibly shocked by the suggestion. She then reveals the truth, explaining that she is a chef working in the Imperial Palace kitchen. Before she can continue, someone calls out for her, asking where she is, and saying that the knights are all looking for her, questioning whether the meal is ready. Realizing the situation, she reacts with surprise and apologizes internally, assuring the boy that she has to leave now, but promising that she will meet him again tomorrow. The little boy remains standing there alone, bewildered and irritated, thinking about how strange she is and how she did not even tell him her name. The scene then cuts to Elise, whose friend is happily celebrating the fact that everything was a huge success. The knights' reactions were overwhelmingly positive, and everyone loved the dish. At last, they finally noticed Elise's skills. The knight commander expressed that he wanted to leave things to her from now on, putting her on the fast track to success. Elise, however, gives a reality check, reminding her friend that the vice chef still exists. Her friend dismisses the concern, saying that she thought Elise was up to the task and assumed she was going to use the kitchen that night to prepare tomorrow's menu. Elise explains that although it is for tomorrow, this particular dish is meant for the kitchen staff, and she thought it would be better to prepare it in advance. She reasons that making it ahead of time is definitely more efficient, even if her friend thinks it might be a bit excessive. Elise calmly adds that if there is any food left, she will simply eat it herself. In truth, she has been thinking about making enough food for that boy to eat as well, but judging by his appetite, a normal portion would not be nearly enough. He looks like someone who could eat the entire pot by himself. Her friend begins teasing her, suggesting that she must also be planning to give a bowl to the knight commander, especially since he liked her cooking so much. At that moment, someone suddenly enters the kitchen and throws vegetables aside, scoffing at Elise. The newcomer mocks her for getting too full of herself just because she covered for one day, telling her that she should learn her place. This person is revealed to be the vice chef, Totty. Totty asks whether she has hit a sore spot, mocking her by implying that a little praise has made her arrogant. She sneers that Elise should not get carried away just because she worked in her place for a single day. Elise, along with Francis and Clark, hears Totty claim that she ran away because she could not handle the work. Elise stops her from continuing and calmly tells her not to be so angry. Since Totty is already there, Elise suggests that she should at least taste the soup. This suggestion immediately angers Totty, who feels as though Elise is trying to order her around. Elise's friend steps in and points out that Totty is the one acting arrogant, especially since she ran away because she did not want to work. Totty insists that she did not run away, claiming that she merely went to do the task the head chef assigned to her. Elise is slightly confused and wonders if the head chef truly asked her to do something. Totty responds that they would not know, insisting that the head chef is busier than they can imagine and that there is no reason for her to explain the details. Before she can justify herself further, the head chef suddenly appears from behind, asking what kind of work she is talking about and expressing curiosity about what task was supposedly assigned. This immediately makes Totty step back. The head chef begins shouting at her, accusing her of running away without taking responsibility for the problem she caused and then trying to lie about it as well. She grabs Totty and orders her to come along. Totty cries out, blaming everything on Elise and claiming that Elise took her job. The head chef cuts her off and declares that, as punishment, she will spend 1 full week washing dishes. This outcome makes both Elise and her friend laugh. They admit that they expected her to get angry again and continue bullying them, so seeing her punished feels satisfying. They feel refreshed and relieved, glad that the head chef has finally noticed Elise's hard work, and that the unnecessary trouble is now gone. Elisa then asks whether they should move on to the finishing touches soon. The scene cuts to the little boy, who comes to Elise and announces that he did exactly as he was told, demanding food in return. It is now the 2nd day of her feeding a stranger. Elise checks his hands carefully to see if they are clean and confirms that he passes. From now on, she decides that he must wash his hands thoroughly before coming to eat. She resolves to tame this little child just a bit more. The boy explains that he gathered what he was supposed to and asks for his food. Today's menu is pumpkin soup. The little boy has never seen such a beautifully colored soup before. It is delicious on its own, but it becomes even better when eaten with bread. Elise first has him dip the bread generously into the soup and let it soak before putting the softened bread into his mouth. The pumpkin flavor is gentle and sweet, and the bread melts as he eats it. Elise feels satisfied, thinking that using so much milk was worth it, because the result is incredibly delicious. The little boy calls out to her, saying that he wants to eat this again. At last, he is full, and while wiping his mouth, he declares that it is the best dish he has ever had. She gently tells him to try saying thank you. The little boy wonders what will happen if he says it. She explains that when someone feels satisfied after eating and expresses gratitude, the person who made the meal will feel happy. The little boy thinks for a moment and says that since she made the soup, she would be happy if he said thank you. She replies that of course she would be, because she feels happiest when people enjoy her food and find it delicious. Blushing slightly, the little boy finally says thank you for the meal. At that moment, it hits her that she has been wondering about something for a while. She realizes why he keeps calling her big sister. He explains that it is because he does not know her name. She understands then that she never properly introduced herself. There is also something else that has been on her mind. This child resembles someone from her past, the second prince of Marco, the one who killed her in her previous life. That prince had been angry about being ostracized in the imperial palace when he was young, and he had mercilessly wielded his sword in a desperate attempt to be recognized by the emperor. As she reflects on that memory, she begins to think that this boy fits too many of the same conditions, almost perfectly. With that thought troubling her, she asks him for his name. He answers that his name is Richard. Hearing this, she feels relieved that the name is different. She then introduces herself as Elise and says that she works as a kitchen assistant, borrowing her friend's surname. However, something about this child makes her feel as though she can be honest. Because of that, she tells him that her real name is Alina. She reminds him that only he is allowed to know this name, and that in front of others, he must call her Elise. Richard wonders why. She explains that if others find out her name is Alina, she will not be able to stay there, and if that happens, she will never be able to make delicious food for him again. The little boy immediately jumps up in protest, insisting that her cooking is delicious. She reassures him that everything will be fine as long as he calls her Elise, and that they will always be able to meet like this. Richard agrees, saying that if it means he can see her again, he will do exactly that. A few days later, Richard is sitting alone, wondering why Elise has not come. Even though she promised, she is not keeping it. The kitchen is in full motion, filled with noise and tension, when a sharp shout cuts through the air, demanding to know how many times this has already happened. They are out of ingredients again, and the voice complains bitterly about how such basic mistakes keep repeating. The frustration spreads quickly. Tori comments to the others that this kind of interruption completely breaks their rhythm and shows that there is no proper management at all. Elise responds with an apology, explaining that she has not yet finished the prep work she was asked to do earlier that day. Her explanation only fuels the irritation. Tori grows visibly angrier and scoffs, questioning whether Elise truly believes she is the only one doing business here, as if no one else is working. She emphasizes that Elise is not special, reminding her that it is only her 2nd day in the kitchen after being transferred on the head chef's recommendation. Without softening her tone, Tori orders her to stop making excuses and bring 2 bags of potatoes immediately. She adds a cutting remark that Elise only managed to get in through connections and that she is painfully slow. Elise senses the hostility clearly. It feels deliberate, as though Tori is targeting her on purpose. She goes to fetch the potatoes, but while carrying them, 2 slip from her grasp and roll onto the floor. Despite everything, She feels a quiet happiness that the head chef acknowledged her ability and allowed her to join the kitchen. She never imagined, however, that it would be this chaotic. Today in particular, it feels as though Tori absolutely despises her. As she works, she wonders what she should do. She remembers the promise she made to Richard and realizes she has not seen him even once since that day. A troubling thought crosses her mind, that perhaps he has been waiting all this time. No matter what happens, she resolves that she will go out today. She has already decided that she will treat him to a meal, just as she promised. Suddenly, she begins to sneeze. She has been sneezing since earlier, and now chills run through her body while her head throbs dully. A friend notices and asks if she might be catching a cold. Elise brushes it off, asking in return what her friend is doing here when she must be busy as well. Her friend explains that she came because she was worried. She remarks that Tori is clearly taking things too far, that it is obvious she is deliberately piling all the work onto allies, and she offers to help. Elise responds with a faint smile, thinking that it cannot be helped. Kitchen work is naturally busy and hectic, and she believes she will be fine once she gets used to it. Her friend, however, insists that Elise is simply too nice for her own good. She cannot stand watching this any longer, and declares that she will go speak to the head chef herself. She urges Elise to return to her room and rest, offering to carry the bags instead. Elise argues back, saying that this is the work she was assigned, and that it would be easier if she handles it herself. Her friend takes the bags anyway, assuring her that it is fine, since there is still another bag to bring. That, at least, comes as a relief. Elise admits inwardly that she was not confident she could manage 2 trips up and down the stairs. Perhaps her friend is right, and she truly is coming down with a cold. She has been busy nonstop these past few days, yet she feels she cannot afford to rest just yet. Then, without warning, she collapses on the stairs. Even as consciousness slips away, a thought lingers painfully in her mind. She has not even kept her promise with that child yet. The scene shifts to nighttime. Elise opens her eyes and slowly sits up, confused. She wonders if this is her room, and struggles to believe that she really did collapse in the end. Guilt weighs heavily on her as she thinks about the trouble she must have caused everyone. As she listens, she hears faint sounds and questions whether she is imagining voices. The window is open, and through it a small bird flies in. The bird appears agitated, conveying anger, and then insists that it is hungry. Elise stares in disbelief, wondering if she is hallucinating, because the bird seems to be speaking in human language. She reaches out and grabs it, thinking that a talking bird must mean she is in critical condition. The bird continues to complain about being hungry and about having waited for a long time. As she looks closer, she notices its unusual features: yellow eyes and silver feathers. Realization strikes her suddenly. She understands that this bird is Richard. At that moment, the bird slips from her grasp and flies away. She calls out after it, desperate for it to return. The bird responds by expressing that it missed her and that Richard had been waiting and worrying about her. The scene cuts once more. Richard stands beneath a tree, scoffing to himself. He thinks that the bird really did not need to say all of that. He then wonders, with mild disbelief, how it even managed to get all the way there in the first place. Elise calls out to Richard, asking what is going on and how he even managed to get here. Worry quickly overtakes her, as she adds that even if this is the royal palace, it would be dangerous if someone bad were to see him, or if something terrible happened. She begins to scold him, reminding him that he is still a child and that he needs to be much more careful from now on. She firmly adds that wandering around at night is now included in their list of promises. Richard immediately pouts and complains that it is always him who gets scolded, while she never keeps her promises either. Elise notices how genuinely upset he looks, and she realizes that this must be because she kept him waiting all this time. With that realization, she apologizes sincerely, explaining that she truly wanted to bring him his meal herself. However, after that day, the kitchen became much busier than she expected, and she could not even bring herself to face him. Richard looks at her for a moment, then turns slightly red as he declares that, fine, he will forgive her. In return, he demands that next time she make him something even tastier. Elise's face brightens immediately, and she thanks him for forgiving her, promising that she will prepare something even better next time. Suddenly, the small bird appears again, fluttering around and loudly expressing how worried it had been and how much it missed her. The situation shocks both of them as the bird continues to chatter nonsense without restraint. Richard hurriedly tells her not to listen, insisting that the bird is not him. Elise pauses, then says that there is actually something she wants to ask. She wonders aloud if this bird is Richard. Richard admits that it is, explaining that the bird's name is Teal. Elise begins to think about how strange it is, since birds do not normally speak human language, yet Richard is acting as though this is completely natural. A soft smile spreads across her face as she realizes how close the two of them seem. For the first time in a while, she stops overthinking everything and feels that things are finally settled. She then remarks that since it is already very late, he should be heading back. Richard replies that he was planning to leave anyway, and that he takes evening walks like this all the time. Elise knows he is lying. He came from very far away, yet he pretends as if it were nothing at all. Before leaving, Richard warns her that from now on she had better keep her promises, because if she does not, he will truly get angry next time. As he turns to go, Elise calls out to him once more and places a scarf around him, reminding him that the night air is still chilly and telling him to take it with him. She thanks him for coming tonight. Richard leaves, repeating once again that she had better keep her promises this time. The next afternoon, Elise sits quietly, thinking to herself that she prepared everything perfectly today. When she reflects on it, she realizes that they never actually set a proper meeting time. At least the kitchen staff let her leave early today, but if she does not get to see Richard, then all of this effort will be for nothing. A sudden thought strikes her. What if she goes to Richard instead? As long as she can meet him, it does not matter where. She decides to do exactly that. The moment she steps into the area, she freezes. She wonders what kind of place this is. The entire area feels haunted. She looks around carefully, noticing how the building seems as though it might collapse at any second. It is dark and damp, with no sunlight reaching inside, and there is no way someone could be living here comfortably. Even more unsettling is the fact that it is located right behind the princesses' and princes' palaces. She cannot understand why such a strange place exists between royal residences. It is not aesthetically pleasing in the slightest, and the more she looks at it, the more suspicious it feels. Suddenly, a voice remarks that this is exactly what they should be asking her. Someone appears and demands to know who she is. In the next moment, she is pushed against the wall, the person questioning what business she has here. She is warned that this is not a place where people can come and go freely, and that if she values her life, she should choose her words carefully. Elise realizes, with a sinking feeling, that she has stepped into a dangerous situation. She thinks to herself that she only came to see Richard, yet somehow she has ended up in something far more perilous than she ever expected. Elise does not know who this person is, but she can tell at once that the woman before her is someone important. The night attire alone signals high status, and Elise realizes that this situation could turn messy if she makes a bad impression. Choosing to play it safe, she presents herself humbly, explaining that she works in the kitchen and is still new here, and asking forgiveness for any rudeness she may have shown. The knight questions her about the basket she is carrying and what she has brought hidden inside. Elise insists that there is nothing suspicious within it. The knight scoffs, reminding her sharply that she is the one asking the questions, and orders Elise to answer properly. Elise raises her voice slightly, stating that it is food, just sandwiches, that she has brought for a friend who lives here. The knight presses further, questioning whether Elise is talking about the bread, and points out that this is not a place anyone can simply enter. Only those with a permit issued by His Majesty the Emperor are allowed to come and go. She voices her suspicion, wondering whether Elise is attempting to poison someone while hiding behind an innocent expression. The knight doubts that Elise means no harm. Elise hurriedly tries to explain that such a thing would never happen, but the knight cuts her off and demands proof that Elise is truly this person's friend. She orders Elise to tell her everything she knows about him. Elise begins by saying that he is outstanding, yet she hesitates when it comes to details and realizes that she does not even know his exact age. The knight corrects her immediately, stating that he is 14. The knight then asks for his name. Elise answers that his name is Richard, but the knight responds coldly that Elise seems to know nothing at all. She criticizes Elise for calling herself his friend when she barely knows even his age or name. Declaring that she will make the final judgment herself, the knight takes one of the sandwiches and eats it, explaining that she has resistance to poison and will know immediately if the food is tainted. The moment she tastes it, she is struck by the flavor. The rich taste of peanut butter, both savory and salty, fills her mouth before melting away smoothly. The banana layered inside complements it perfectly. She questions why it tastes so good. Elise explains that it is only a normal sandwich, but the knight sharply accuses her of lying, insisting that no normal sandwich could taste like this. Elise then admits that she mixes a little cream into the peanut butter to soften its texture. The knight's suspicion fades, and she realizes that her bad feeling was nothing but a misunderstanding. Her eyes glitter with sudden recognition as she identifies Elise as the person everyone has been talking about. Elise the Delicious. The knight introduces herself as Lily and says that Elise should be honored to meet her. She then remarks that if she lingers any longer, she will be late. Before leaving, she thanks Elise again, praising the sandwich as wonderful and saying that she hopes to see her around. After Lily departs, Elise is left confused. The most promising candidate for the next emperor and the future master of the Blue Line Knights, the greatest knightly order in the empire, is Princess Lily herself. For someone of such high standing to know about Richard and to seem so familiar with him feels strange. Elise wonders how close they must be. As she is lost in thought, Richard arrives and asks whether this is about him and why she is in a place like this. He questions whether she has come to keep her promise. Elise confirms that she has indeed come because she truly wanted to keep her promise today. She then asks whether he has eaten, and his growling stomach answers for him. She laughs softly, realizing she arrived just in time, and wonders whether he likes sandwiches. The scene shifts to Richard enjoying the sandwiches, clearly delighted by the taste. Elise reassures him that there are plenty, telling him to take his time and eat slowly. As she watches him, she reflects on his living situation, residing between the princess's palace and the prince's palace, areas inaccessible without special permission. He is a boy acquainted with the princess, and the name she heard earlier was definitely Richard, not Max. Max was the name of the second prince who killed her in her past life. Elise wonders whether she could be mistaken. Come to think of it, she never had a clear look at the second prince back then. All she remembers are blood-splattered military blue boots. That painful death belongs to the past now, but she does not wish to involve herself with anyone who stirs those memories again. Resolving not to hesitate any longer, she calls out to Richard and asks whether he knows Princess Lily. He responds by asking why she wants to know. Elise explains that she met the princess on her way here and that Lily claimed to know him. Realizing this is the moment to seek clarity, Elise decides to ask him everything directly. She finally questions him, asking him plainly, without dancing around the truth, whether he is the Prince of Marco. A heavy silence fills the air as Richard speaks, confessing that he is useless, and nothing as grand or impressive as a prince. Elise is taken aback, trying to understand what he truly means by this. He clarifies that he speaks exactly as it sounds. If he possesses great power, fine. If not, then he is of no consequence. In the Empire, all royalty can wield magic, and the Marco royalty are revered as the strongest nation on the continent, precisely because of the overwhelming difference created by their extraordinary magical abilities. He takes her hand and begins to cast magic. Elise watches, recognizing it immediately. This is magic. But suddenly, it falters. His healing magic, though present, is unimpressive. It is barely effective, and this is the best he can manage. Despite being born into the Empire, he cannot even perform a single spell properly. Yet Elise realizes that even with such limited skill, he may still be useful, which is why he is being kept here for the time being, to offer his magical power whenever needed. Her anger flares. How dare he reduce himself to a tool, something to be used merely for utility? He is still growing, and must be cared for, yet he dismisses her concern. From his perspective, weakness is a sin. Those with ability rise to the top, and those without are forgotten. Only the capable have the right to live. Elise cannot believe that he sees it as natural for someone to be discarded if they lack value. She seizes him, gripping his hands and demanding that he listen, that he look at her. She explains that she possesses no magic whatsoever, and she comes from Genetart, a defeated nation. In her past life, she worked in the kitchen simply to survive. As the last surviving princess of her line, she was abandoned repeatedly, suffering bitter deaths over and over. She knows intimately what it feels like to be left for dead. But now, things are different. Richard enjoys her cooking so much. He is already special, more than anyone else. If it were not for him, who would savor her meals with such genuine delight? Her words bring a smile to Richard's face. He realizes it is true. He is the only one who can truly appreciate her cooking. Elise returns his smile, thinking it is right. She tells him not to say such sorrowful things anymore. Richard pulls her close, remarking that she is far too kind to belong in a nation like this. Elise hugs him back, her mind filled with the thought that he, too, does not belong here. Internally, she resolves that no matter who Richard is, she will not allow this child to endure the same agonizing experiences that she once suffered. The scene shifts to the kitchen, where Elise considers why every time she tries to see Richard, there is an overwhelming amount of work. She wonders whether today will be the same. Her first task is peeling potatoes, and she calculates that if she can finish everything within 2 hours, she will finally be able to see Richard without any obstacles. Her friend arrives, exclaiming in disbelief and anger at the sheer effort of her work. Elise explains that today she has been assigned to prep the potatoes. Her friend's frustration grows. The thought of what Tawdry might be planning to make is infuriating. Elise suggests it might be mashed potatoes, and the idea sends shivers down her friend's spine. It is undoubtedly a dish that consumes time and energy, and merely peeling the potatoes could take forever. At this rate, she thinks, she will not see Richard today either. But then, an idea sparks in her mind. What if she doesn't peel them? Her friend, confused, asks what she means. Elise reasons that today's meal is not for an important occasion, it is merely for the night's dinner. A solution presents itself. If she adapts the dish, she might still finish in time to see Richard. She proposes the idea to her friend, suggesting that they try something new. Internally, Elise resolves that no matter what, she will see Richard today. She tells herself to just wait. She will be there on time, and nothing will prevent her from sharing this moment with him. Someone asks the king if he has eaten again today. The king replies that he simply does not have any appetite. Lily speaks to him, warning that if this continues, his health will only get worse. The king explains that this is why he must soon decide on a successor. Whoever becomes the next emperor must surpass all others in every way. Lily becomes quiet for a moment, absorbing his words, and then tells him that she will keep that firmly in mind. The scene shifts to Elise, who is being called by her friend. Her friend has brought everything, including all the round, water-soaked things from the kitchen. She brings something and asks Elise if she really plans to make a potato dish with it. Elise picks up a beer bottle, thinking that it is sweet. Her friend asks again what she plans to do with it. Elise explains that the potatoes have already been boiled and are perfectly cooked. The next step is to smash them. Her friend grabs her and says that it is not that she does not trust her, but she wants to be sure. Elise assures her not to worry, insisting that she will win. Totty, later on, scoffs at Elise, questioning whether she is seriously changing the dinner menu now, and saying that this is not the time for jokes. She explains that there is no potato dish more perfect than mashed potatoes. Although it might take longer to prepare, it is still the best choice. Elise responds, saying that this is exactly what she is trying to say. Soldiers have just returned from a campaign and eat at lightning speed. If mashed potatoes are served, the kitchen cannot keep up. Totty asks what she proposes instead, and Elise shows her the dish she has made. She explains that it is as soft as mashed potatoes, but shaped like fries, and she calls it smashed potatoes. Elise tells Totty that the potatoes are boiled with the skin on, smashed, and then roasted until golden brown in the oven. Totty criticizes her, saying that she did not even peel them, which sounds lazy. Elise assures her that she will understand why the skin was left on once she tastes it. Totty agrees and takes a bite. She finds it delicious. The roasted skin is crispy, the inside is soft and fluffy like mashed potatoes, and the yogurt sauce gives it a refreshing finish. She acknowledges that it is not bad and decides to make it tonight's dinner. She also instructs that the rest of the potato skins be boiled. Elise thanks her and says she will start immediately. Totty, however, is angry, thinking that Elise should not get cocky just because of a little praise. She is frustrated because Elise keeps getting on her nerves repeatedly. Finally, Elise finishes in the kitchen on time, and it is a success. She is confident that Totty liked it too. Suddenly, she hears someone shouting, "Let them go!" She recognizes the voice and begins to run. When she sees who it is, she realizes it is Richard. She calls out to him and sees that he is injured. She looks at his face and asks who did this to him. Richard rubs his face and says it is fine, that it is not that bad. Elise argues, insisting that it is not that bad, because it is a serious wound. She also mentions that someone was there just a moment ago. Richard reassures her not to worry and says that she does not need to know. Elise thinks to herself how awful it is that someone could hurt a child like him. She wonders who could have done such a thing. Then it hits her, and she asks Richard, in disbelief, if it could possibly have been her, someone who knows that Richard lives here. She also wonders if it was Princess Lily who did this to him. Richard is momentarily taken aback, but he quickly raises his voice, insisting that the princess has nothing to do with it. He emphasizes that she is a kind person and urges her to ask him again if she doubts him. After a brief silence, she acknowledges his words and decides not to inquire further, though Richard notices a flicker of concern in her expression. She reassures him that her feelings stem from sadness at seeing him hurt, not from blame or suspicion. Richard points out that she need not worry about his condition, explaining that his current state is the result of weakness in the face of a certain person. He considers himself a useless eyesore, a punishment for disgracing the name of his nation, and insists that there is no reason for her to be saddened by it. Elise, however, is incensed by his self-deprecation. She cannot bear the notion that he views such treatment as normal. To her, he is his most important friend, and she refuses to accept that he deserves mistreatment. She becomes resolute, telling him that the next time he encounters the person responsible, he should first strike them once, and then declare that he is enjoying far more delicious food than they are. Richard, confused, asks what she means, and she laughs softly, acknowledging that it may seem puzzling. Elise explains the simple joy of being able to eat delicious food until fully satisfied, a pleasure she can indulge in even if other aspects of her life are constrained. She urges Richard to assert this small triumph whenever someone looks down on him again. Richard acknowledges her words and promises to follow her advice, noting that she herself seems cheerful and composed, a sight that lifts his spirits. Elise reflects briefly on her ignorance of who bullied him, but vows that if she ever discovers the culprit, they will not escape her scrutiny. Later, Richard finds himself eating alone when Lily approaches. She remarks with subtle reproach at the misunderstanding that led Elise to think poorly of her, questioning where such an idea could have originated. Richard, curious, inquires about the matter, and Lily admits that she had not intended to eavesdrop, but had inadvertently overheard part of the conversation. She hesitates, then asks if she truly appears as unkind as Elise might have perceived. Richard concedes that he finds her a little intimidating, prompting Lily to respond with a playful punch. She insists there is a limit to honesty, claiming some truth must be tempered with action, and she offers him a few sandwiches as a gesture of goodwill. Richard protests, insisting that they belong to him, but Lily persuades him, guiding him to turn so she can make the gesture appear graceful. Richard thanks her and allows her to take the sandwich, remarking on the strange contrast between her harshness and her kindness. Lily teases him, noting his terrible personality, but he reassures her that being punched by her causes no pain, and even enjoys the brief, light-hearted interaction. The conversation shifts to the topic of an upcoming important dinner, which Lily informs him about in advance. She urges him to attend, asserting that he is more than qualified and even more suitable than another candidate to participate. With her encouragement, she leaves, prompting Richard to contemplate his course of action carefully. Meanwhile, Elise is in the kitchen, feeling a pang of worry for having returned without tending to Richard's injuries. She plans to bring medicine and perhaps some restorative food on her next visit. Just then, her friend enters, introducing members of the night order who have come to express their delight at the day's meal, curious about its creator. Elise responds graciously, pleased that they have enjoyed it. Kaidan, one of the members, steps forward, offering polite greetings and thanks. He remarks on the exceptional quality of the potato dish, praising its crispy skin and tender interior, noting that it is a first in his experience. The energizing meal, he adds, seems to have contributed to a highly successful harvest on their expedition. Elise, absorbing the significance of their words, feels a sudden chill as she realizes that their expedition uncovered a clue related to the Genitart royal family, leaving her momentarily drained of color and overwhelmed by the implications. She asks whether they have found the Genitart royal family. Kaden replies that, to be precise, they have discovered a lead. He explains that if she has heard of the Stone of Judgment, then she should know it is the artifact once used to determine the heir to the throne. Originally, only those of pure royal blood could inherit the throne of Genitart. However, after the fall of Genitart, the way the stone is used has changed completely. It appears to be nothing more than an ordinary stone, yet when touched by the hand of a Genitart royal, it glows red. He remarks on how fascinating it is, and how shocking it feels to think that a stone once meant to identify royalty is now being used as a tool to hunt them down. Elise thinks to herself that it looks exactly like the stone table she saw when she was a child. Anxiety tightens in her chest as she wonders what she should do if an inspection is conducted soon. Kaiden notices her condition and asks whether she is all right, observing that she has been looking rather pale for a while now. She answers that she is fine, but her friend apologizes on her behalf, thinking that they must have talked for too long. Elise quickly reassures her, saying that it is not a problem at all, that she enjoyed the conversation and was simply lost in thought for a moment. With that, her friend takes the night with her, saying that she will see their guest out. Caden leaves as well, mentioning that he is looking forward to the next meal. The moment they are gone, Elise tells herself to calm down. There is no one who will discover that she is royalty, she insists inwardly, and she has to survive here no matter what. Her method of survival is painfully simple. Never reveal the fact that she is a princess, and never cross paths with the second prince, Max. She never imagined that something so simple could become so difficult. She picks up a stone and examines it closely, thinking that something about it does not feel right. In truth, she had been hoping she could switch it out. The plan to survive by hiding in plain sight feels as though it may fall apart before long, and she may have to leave this place soon. If it comes to light that the princess of a defeated nation has fled to the imperial palace, her life will not be spared. She cannot help but worry about Richard. If she leaves, she fears that he will return to skipping meals again. Suddenly, she hears someone telling him to eat. She turns and sees a man forcing Richard to eat that same stupid bread. Richard struggles and shouts, demanding that the man let go of him. The man mocks him, calling him arrogant for refusing the food provided to him. Richard insists that he does not need it and that he will not eat anything from him. The man scoffs, claiming that he is taking care of him and that Richard should be grateful. He grabs him roughly, calling him a little brat, while Richard shouts again that he does not need his help. Without hesitation, Elise throws a peach at the man. He turns around angrily, demanding to know what that was and asking whether she has lost her mind. Elise tells him to get his hands away from that child's fine clothes. Her tone is cold and intimidating. He is clearly someone of higher status, yet she does not waver as she tells him that bullying a small child is hardly befitting of a nobleman. She warns that if he does not stop, she will call for help. The man responds that she has some nerve. He throws the stretcher down and then grabs her by the hair, demanding to know how she dares speak so boldly before him, the first prince. He declares that Richard is a useless piece of trash and not worth her reckless interference. At that moment, she understands. He is the one who has been giving Richard rotten bread and beating him all this time. Rage surges through her as she demands that the first prince take back what he just said. The first prince asks whether she is giving him an order. She shouts back, telling him not to look down on that child and not to speak of him in such a way. The first prince then turns his gaze to Richard and muses that perhaps he should have addressed him with a more distinguished name, something like Lord Max. The instant she hears that name, her blood runs cold. She realizes that the second prince of Marco, the one she has been desperately trying to avoid, Max, is Richard. The first princess observes Elise, noting that she has barged in without any awareness of who she is dealing with. Richard, meanwhile, calmly identifies himself as the second prince and reveals that the person before her is from the great Marco Empire Lord Max. He adds that she is free to call as many people as she likes. No one would dare object. Elise gradually begins to comprehend the situation. The first prince, intent on teaching the youngest a lesson, asserts his authority, making it clear that he will overlook her rudeness up to this point, but expects her to leave. Elise, however, refuses to retreat, suggesting instead that perhaps he is the one who should go. The first prince, irritated by her defiance, sneezes unexpectedly. He questions how the sneeze came about, and Elise responds that she has not done anything, though she might have a guess. She recalls instructions received on her first day at the imperial palace concerning the dietary habits of key figures, and she realizes she had merely thrown what was at hand, never imagining that the person bullying a child would be a prince. She suggests that he hurry to see a doctor, noting that his cough appears to be worsening. The first prince departs, warning that he will remember this incident. Once he leaves, Elise collapses to the floor, berating herself for her recklessness. She is struck by the realization that she has inadvertently harmed a royal, and that there would be no way for her to protest, even if consequences followed. Richard's voice calls out, asking if she is all right, though she silently blames him for the confusion. Her mind races as she struggles to process that Richard is the second prince, the very person she had desperately wished never to encounter in this life. A sudden clap draws her attention, and she sees Lily stepping forward, signaling that enough is enough for now. Lily notes that Elise likely has a multitude of questions and suggests saving the remainder of the conversation for later. She turns to Elise, asking how it feels to be friends with the prince, showing awareness that she has overheard everything. Lily reassures her not to misinterpret the timing. She had been about to emerge anyway, and believes Elise handled the situation admirably. Smiling, Lily praises Elise's cleverness and notes that the first prince is clearly struggling at the moment. She encourages Elise not to dwell too heavily on the incident, reminding her that Richard has his own circumstances, and suggests that she hear him out before making any decisions. Elise snaps back to the present, wondering what is taking Richard so long. At last, fully dressed, the second prince, Lord Max, appears. Richard urges Lily not to make a fuss, but she protests, noting that such fine attire is rare and deserves to be noticed. Richard insists that the attention is suffocating. Lily teases Elise, asking whether she finds the clothes flattering on him. Elise, momentarily flustered, admits that he looks handsome, yet Lily questions Richard himself, skeptical of whether he truly suits the outfit. Richard sharply responds that it was Lily's idea to show off. Turning to Elise, he reminds her of what he told her before. The principle of the nation is such that he must conceal his identity. His incompetence is widely assumed, and no one would believe his claim to royalty. When he finally reached a point where he could stand proudly, he intended to introduce himself properly. That is why he has been behaving unusually lately, asking about training his mana, and even standing up to the first prince. A maid arrives to inform Lily that it is nearly time. She excuses herself, suggesting that Elise and Richard continue their conversation. Once Lily departs, Elise turns to Richard, her mind in turmoil. She struggles to reconcile the fact that she has personally tended to the man who had caused her death in a past life, leaving her uncertain how to interact with him now. Richard studies her carefully, asking if she is angry that he is actually the prince, and if she harbors resentment for his silence and deception. His words cause her heart to flutter, a mixture of worry and conflicted emotions gripping her as she struggles to respond. She is certainly surprised. She never imagined that the very thing she had been worried about would turn out to be true. She thinks about it carefully and realizes that if there is no other reason, such as perhaps he could not trust her, then things might still be all right. Richard feels strongly and shouts that no, that could never be the case. In fact, he had been scared. He thought he might disappoint her, and he did not want to feel any more pathetic than he already does. He is also sorry for deceiving her. She considers this for a while and realizes that if that is true, she is still disappointed. However, this does not mean she has lost faith in him. She understands that the past may have already changed the relationship she has built up until now, but it might still be enough to change the future. Richard goes to her and hugs her, expressing his gratitude. He thinks to himself that the Richard of now is a child who can laugh so brightly. He resolves to tell her everything honestly from now on. After this, he says he will leave, and she reflects that she will prepare a special menu for tomorrow's lunch. Richard leaves, saying he is looking forward to it. She watches him go, thinking that this is right, that this is fine, and she already feels that it is the right thing. Afterward, Elise speaks to her, expressing that she had been curious about how she would reconcile the situation. She laughs lightly and admits that she thought this was her chance to understand Richard better. Lily then speaks to Elise, saying that there is something she would like to ask. She asks if Elise has heard about the Marco Empire's Academy, where all royalty and nobility are required to attend for compulsory education starting at age 12. The instructors are the Empire's finest scholars, and the facilities are excellent. Lily wishes to send Richard there. Richard insists that it is impossible for him to go, but Lily does not think so. Based on the form she had seen before, it is because he uses his power in places where it serves no purpose. Elise is confused by this. Lily explains that each royal in the Marco Empire has a guardian animal, and she observes that Richard is always with his guardian animal. Elise had always wondered why there was a talking bird, but now it seems that Richard carried it because he is a beast folk. Guardian animals materialize using magical power, and merely manifesting them consumes energy. Lily continues, explaining that if Richard had not wasted his magical power on useless things, he would not have been beaten to a pulp by the first prince. That is why she wants him to attend the academy, so he can learn how to handle his magical power properly. But there is another reason. Lily might have to become the next empress, though she does not want the position. The problem is that the first prince is the only other viable candidate. She does not want to see that twisted creature become emperor, because, for the stability of the nation, the imperial throne needs at least one competent candidate. Lily asks Elise to encourage Richard's heart, to help him become a slightly more decent human being. The scene shifts to Elise in her room, thinking about what Lily said. She understands what Lily meant. However, even if she sets aside Richard's feelings for now, she knows that the Richard she saw in the future was a tyrant. She wonders what she should do. At that moment, her friend arrives in the room. mentioning that Elise has not been able to see life clearly these days. Her friend also brings news about an open competition for the banquet menu in the kitchen. An ambassador from Castrol is scheduled to visit in a month, and they are holding a menu submission event for that day. Castrol is one of the Empire's key allied nations, so they want to make a good impression. The most unusual aspect of the competition is that age, experience, status, and position do not matter. They are only looking for pure skill. The winner will have one wish granted by His Majesty, and it can be anything the Emperor allows. Her friend tells Elise that she should participate. Totty, another person, is also joining, which shows how important this event is. Winning could even allow her to meet the Emperor, despite her current condition. Elise is advised to prepare thoroughly, and she realizes she has a real shot at winning. After her friend leaves, Elise lies down on her bed, thinking that this situation is incredible. Her head is spinning, and she knows she needs to calm down first. Then she notices a note. The note does not seem like something her friend would have dropped. Her face turns pale as she reads it. The note is from someone acknowledging that she has stubbornly survived and congratulating her for continuing to mingle closely with the royalty. It reminds her that her existence is meant for revenge. The writer says they look forward to her performance and calls her little sister. Elise realizes immediately that the note is from her brother. A graceful script surrounds her like an elegant but cutting flourish, paired with an arrogance that cannot be hidden. Only one person in the world is permitted to call her sister, her real brother, Kendrick, the Prince of Genetart. As she realizes this, a chill runs through her. She had believed her brother was dead as well, so the thought unsettles her deeply. She cannot understand how he knows that she is here, and the uncertainty gnaws at her mind. Her brother is a frightening person. He is someone who always believes he must stand at the very top, someone who feels no guilt no matter what he must do to achieve revenge. She recoils internally at the thought. She does not wish for such a thing. After finally escaping from the cycle of repeated deaths, she wants nothing more than to live freely. She does not want to cooperate with her brother's schemes, no matter the cost. Still, hesitation lingers in her heart. When she was little, her brother always punished her whenever she disobeyed him. He would throw her snacks onto the floor and threaten her, forcing her to eat them. He would gather his friends, laugh loudly, and watch as she trembled. She was often locked in solitary confinement and went without food for days at a time. Even now, those memories remain vivid. She forces herself to ignore them, yet fear creeps in all the same. She wonders if those things would happen again. If her brother were to appear before her once more, she does not know what she should do. The next day arrives, and with it comes lunchtime. After nights of hard training, everyone is starving. They gather together, curious about what will be served today. She praises them for their efforts during training and announces the menu: tenderly stewed cream stew. Caden is visibly delighted. Lately, thanks to these meals, the night order has been brimming with energy, and he believes this is all thanks to her. She responds that moments like this make cooking worthwhile. Gordon, however, notices something different. As he eats, he suddenly realizes that her expression looks unusually downcast today. He senses that something must have happened. In his thoughts, he connects her sadness to the memory of her brother and wonders if that is the reason she appears so depressed. Caden, on the other hand, points out that it must be because of the upcoming open competition for the dinner menu that will be held soon. She decides to go along with that explanation. She admits that she has been thinking about what kind of menu to prepare, and that she also has to consider the knights from the other party. Caden mentions that those knights are famous for their unique eating habits. Her curiosity is piqued, and she wonders what kind of habits they have. It turns out that one of them is actually vegetarian, has a weak stomach, and does not eat meat at all. His meals are centered entirely on vegetables. She thanks Caden for the useful information and immediately begins to think seriously. If the knight cannot eat meat, then meat cannot be used in her cooking. At the same time, she realizes that this might be a chance for a new challenge. By using rare vegetables, she might be able to create a new dish and earn additional points as well. With renewed determination, she begins forming a new plan. The scene shifts as she seeks out Richard, asking about his favorite vegetables. She explains that she wants to use them as a reference while thinking about the menu, and that anything memorable would be helpful. Richard admits that he actually prefers meat over vegetables. In fact, the only vegetable he has ever eaten is potatoes. This does not surprise her, as the people of this nation consume a great deal of potatoes, but they are far too common to be inspiring. After a moment of thought, Richard recalls one vegetable that left a strong impression on him: the worst vegetable he has ever eaten. She immediately wonders if it might be eggplant. He confirms that he ate it once long ago, that it made his stomach hurt, tasted grassy, and had a strange texture. She explains that eggplant can cause stomach pain if eaten raw, as it contains slight toxicity. If it is not prepared properly, such reactions are inevitable. As she reflects on this, she suddenly realizes something important. She wonders how she could have forgotten about eggplant. It is certainly not commonly eaten in the Merhart Nation either, and when cooked poorly, its texture becomes mushy and unpleasant. It is a troublesome ingredient, yet that very difficulty sparks an idea in her mind. Richard notices her sudden change and wonders what is wrong. She explains that she has just had an idea, and that it is all thanks to him. She announces that she plans to try making an eggplant dish. Richard questions why she would choose eggplant out of all possible ingredients. She believes that it would be wonderful if people could learn to enjoy ingredients they once disliked. There is, however, a practical problem: where to obtain eggplants. Richard offers to tell her where they can be found, but he insists that the place is dangerous and that it would be unsafe for her to go alone. He suggests that they go together. She understands that he wants to accompany her and questions whether the place is truly that dangerous. He assures her that it is, explaining that she could easily get lost if she went by herself. In the end, she gives in and agrees that they will go together. He adds that the place is relatively close. As they set out, she notices that Richard has a surprisingly cute side to him. The scene cuts once more. Heavy rain pours down relentlessly as the two of them take shelter inside a cave. Elise worries quietly, wondering whether they will be able to return home today.